more money, shall we? So we're going to waste a little less, and the stuff that we do eat, we're going to freeze properly so that our leftovers don't go rotten on us as well, and we can preserve more food.
One of the biggest complaints we hear over and over again, and I'm sure the chefs hear it too, is that single people kind of feel left out because all the meals are always for families or for two.
It's true.
Right? So when you're doing singles, you know, you have leftovers. It's just a reality of life.
I think leftovers are a great thing. You just need to preserve them properly.
And preserve them the right way. And that's some of the things that people don't understand. Because everybody assumes that the freezer, throw it in there and come back to it when you're ready. That's not actually true.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we're starting to see more and more research coming out about bacteria doesn't die on frozen food.
Okay.
Everybody's kind of like, oh, I thought it did. Yeah, cooking kills bacteria, but bacteria will actually still live in the freezer. So when you freeze something raw, you can thaw it, use it, and then refreeze it, but you should never freeze it, thaw it, refreeze it, because the bacteria process will actually continue on that food, and you're more likely to get salmonella, botulism. Like, there's a whole bunch of things that come out of that. Yeah, so we don't want to play that game.
No.
Instead, though, you can use your freezer in ways to make and save you money.
Okay.
All right, one of my favorite right now, fresh fruit.
Yes.
Oh, it's getting so expensive. But every now and then you'll see a 2-for deal, right? 2 pints of strawberries for X number of dollars, or raspberries. So I always take advantage of it. Buy both of them, but freeze them. And the way to freeze strawberries and raspberries, for example, is a little bit different than just throwing the whole pint in. So this is just a simple sheet pan with a piece of parchment paper, okay? You're gonna take your fruit, and you're just going to spread it out evenly so that nothing is touching. And this is where you're going to take out the squishy ones, because there's always a squishy one in the bottom of the container. Right. And nobody wants to eat the squishy one, right?
No one wants the squishy ones.
But by freezing it this way, freezing them separate and doing it quickly. So you put them in your freezer, and then you're going to take them out in about an hour. What happens is it prevents them from sticking together and being all clumpy.
Got it.
So then, as you go forward, you can just use this section or that section, okay?
Right.
Same with the strawberries, just make sure you take the tops off.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
When we're talking about herbs, you may have heard the trick before about using your ice cube tray. And it's great, and I do love it, but this is the next evolution.
Okay,
so you're starting
what do
to
you
see
do now?
you're starting to see flexible ice cube trays.
Oh, like the silicone trays.
Specifically for herb saving.
Right.
Okay, the key to using these though is you have to actually put oil or a fat in there with your herbs. Okay? And I love the ones that have the lids, because these lids, like this guy here that I got at Kitchen Stuff Plus, preserve each one individually.
Right.
It pops out much easier, and you don't get any of that freezer burn on your herbs. And herbs are one of those things that really can absorb the flavors of the freezer.
Right. So you're like, for this one, you would get the freezer burn because it doesn't even have a lid on it.
It doesn't. And the key to using that type of one is once they're frozen, you're going to pop them into your Ziploc bag. Or I have another option that you can use that I'm going to show you in a little bit.
Okay. All
So let's talk a little bit about the meals that our chefs made today.
Right. So we made the cannelloni, we made the schnitzel, the chicken soup there. We want to preserve some of this
Absolutely.
stuff.
You don't want any of this to go to waste, because even though they're on a budget, that's a whole nother meal that you can take to lunch with you. You can do things. So the first thing you want to consider is the type of food. Is it a solid or is it a liquid? Okay. Now the liquids you're always going to put in containers like this, because no matter how good you are at taking the air out of these units, you gotta make sure that there's enough space so that the expansion doesn't bust open your container. Okay. I love using the Food Saver. Leanne showed this last year.
Yeah.
I am a huge fan of the Food Saver, because the Food Saver, you make your own plastic bag.
Yes.
You suck all the air out, so anything like the cannelloni or the schnitzel goes into the bag. You suck the air out. Air is bad for freezer food. My entire freezer right now is filled with these bags.
Food Saver bags.
Absolutely, the whole thing, and I love that.
You've got like meals forever.
I
there
do.
Could be Armageddon.
But
You're
all
good.
of my cooked vegetables, all of my beets, turnips, everything like that, I pre-boiled them, got them ready in the freezer. Now I just have to dump the whole bag in hot boiling water, and I'm ready. Done.
Is it easy to use? Like, can you show us right now?
Yeah. Well, let's do one.
Why not?
Throw schnitzel in here.
One.
Sorry, Randy.
Let's preserve that schnitzel.
Let's preserve a schnitzel. All right, so it's just gonna go in like that. And what you're gonna see is your Food Saver. You're gonna slide it in here. And this is always the case when you wanna do a demo. It never is gonna work, right?
But the bottom line is it's gonna take all of that air out and vacuum seal it. How easy is it for it
So now it's going right now.
For it to open it up?
It's sucking the air out of that.
When I wanna eat that schnitzel, is it easy to just, what do I just do?
Pair of scissors. Yeah.
Pair of scissors,
just done. And it's easy. And this one is the handheld.
Yes, well this one is the Food Saver automatic vacuum. That's what Carson has been using. This one is the Fresh Saver handheld vacuum sealer.